Let's move on to a quarterback who is very highly touted, who stinks. Trevor Lawrence, aka Sunshine from Memphis
Trick
Titans.
off Trev.
Trick off Trev. I'm gonna do even better one. Duval Daniel Jones, and I have a stat.
oh,
I have stats for niggas.
Stats. I'm gonna go on mute. Let you rock with this.
Duval Daniel Jones. The reason we don't bring this up is because he plays in Jacksonville, #1, and people don't care about Jacksonville, Florida. Shout out to RIOP. Shout out my guys, Amp. And Mr. Jeff's name right over there. We care about y'all. But outside of that, nobody cares about anything in Jacksonville, Florida. That's why he's not under the radar. Also, I think we still think that Trevor Lawrence is what he was at Clemson. He's not. Let's be real. He won one playoff game because Justin Herbert was terrible at the end of that game because Brandon Staley is an idiot. It wasn't because he was great. The nigga threw 4 picks and then tried to even it out with the 4 touchdowns. But here are the stats for y'all. By the way, the Jaguars are 0-3. 0-3 right now. Doug Peterson looks like he's going to get fired again. But here's the stats. This is before last night's game. But I guess it doesn't really matter because Daniel Jones didn't throw a touchdown last night. But I'm going to add the interception. So these are the two comparisons between Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, 63% completion percentage. Daniel Jones, 64% completion percentage. Daniel Jones is thrown for 2,502 yards each season. Per season. Trevor Lawrence, 2,942 yards per season. Daniel Jones, 300 rushing yards per season. We got Trevor Lawrence, 254 yards per season. They both, Daniel Jones has a higher passer rating, career passer rating, 85. Trevor Lawrence is 84. 51.67 career QBR for Daniel Jones, 50.25 career QBR for Trevor Lawrence. 66 touchdowns thrown for Daniel Jones. 60 touchdowns thrown for Trevor Lawrence. 43 interceptions for Daniel Jones. 40 interceptions thrown for Trevor Lawrence. One is considered one of the worst quarterbacks ever. The other is considered a generational talent. If you look at those stats, my nigga, I don't see much difference. In fact, Daniel Jones has 6 more passing touchdowns.
Trick off Trev is ass.
Trick off Trev, Duval, Daniel Jones. My question for y'all, what's next for Jacksonville? Because you just gave Trevor Lawrence all this money. You're not going to move on from him. You wasted a year of his career with Urban Meyer. Then you bring in Doug Peterson, who got fired by the Eagles. He has done nothing really since he's been there. And you're looking at 0-4 in VI. I'm going to go to Bang first because you gave him the trick off Trev name. What do you think the Jacksonville Jaguars go with?
I have not a goddamn clue. I saw somebody say that Bill Belichick and Tony Khan's dad have a great relationship, and they wouldn't be surprised to see him go to Jacksonville. I don't think Bill Belichick can save the Jacksonville Jaguars, my G. I don't know what's going on with Trick off Trev. I don't know. You have to bring in an offensive-minded coach, a new offensive-minded coach. Maybe you bring in Bobby Slowick to be the head coach. Maybe you think that highly of Clint Kubiak. I don't know who you can bring in that can help him out. But right now, he's ass. And Trevor Lawrence is what makes me scared about Caleb Williams. Because the reason why people sit up here and say, oh, here y'all go with this generational talent shit, is Trevor fucking Lawrence. You've been touting this man since he was a freshman. You said that he was next up as a freshman. You said that he was a generational talent as a freshman. You said as a freshman, he is a clear lock as the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. You know who else they said that about? They said that about Caleb Williams since his freshman year. That's why people look at that whole shit around when you talk about Caleb Williams and generational talent, because you got niggas like Trevor Lawrence who's stinking up the joint. Now, like we said earlier, it's more coaches that messes it up for players than it is anybody else. So I really don't know and have a fucking clue of how you fix Trevor Lawrence. But right now, they better do it and do it fast because they gave that man way too much money to be doing what he's doing right now.
Tosin, man, do you think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are on the highway to nowhere, or do you think there's any kind of hope here?
Ain't no damn hope for them, man. They really might need a seance or something because I don't know what's going on. They have to all learn AEW because it's bad down there, man. They all gotta go to wrestling. I mean, I just knew this wasn't a serious team when they got a pool that everybody shares in their stadium. So
that's nasty.
What kind of Tampa Bay Rays stuff is that?
That's nasty.
It's disgusting. That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, I was looking at their roster, right? I was looking to see if there's anybody worth saving on that team. There's nobody worth saving. I mean, you look at like the players that they drafted, right? And it make like they are just a terribly run organization. And it goes for every sport, right? Like, I think the real issue is in general, like if your team is ran poorly, it's going to just continually show. I forgot who they picked number one. Yeah, when they picked Trayvon Walker first in 2022, I was like, oh yeah, this is not a serious franchise. Like picking Trayvon Walker first in 2022, that just shows you where they are. And they're going nowhere fast. And someone like Bobby Slowik doesn't need to go there and ruin his life. Just go somewhere else. So come to Baltimore. So replace John Harbaugh. So that's how I feel about that.
I mean, and like you bring up the Bill Belichick thing. I'm gonna say what I think my man Hawk on ESPN said this about Bill Belichick going to the Cowboys. It's even worse about this. Like you'll be a king around idiots. Like don't like I kind of feel like Bill Belichick honestly shouldn't go anywhere because I feel like he's in the Phil Jackson territory where like it can only go down. That's like bringing Phil Jackson out of retirement to coach the Grizzlies. You want him dealing with John Morant like no, he gonna force John Morant to read Zen books like no, nobody want to see that. Like Bill, stay on the Manicast, stay on Inside the NFL with Ocho and all them niggas.
Fuck that record.
Yeah, don't ruin. I know you want the record. I know you want to be who Don Shula, I think, has a record. Like you just leave it alone, dog. You got Don Shula beat in rings, and you're still here on Earth. You won, so like you're fine.
Scott, I got something to add to that. I was having this I had this thought like last week about John Harbaugh, right? Like, and this goes to like coaching all sports and just in everything in life. At some point, you're the young coach, right? You're the young and up and coming coach. The next thing you know, 18 years later, you're the second oldest coach in the whole entire league. And it happens, right? It just is what it is. Like now you're looking at the Matt LaFleurs of the world, the younger dudes, right? And that's just life. With Bill Belichick, you have nothing to prove to nobody. You don't want to be coaching these YNs. You don't want to be coaching these dudes who are going on TikTok after their games or during
niggas playing Mad Rod Wave in the locker room.
Yo, you don't want to be around these dudes doing and playing NBA YoungBoy. That's not for you.
You're just like, doing this and shit.
Yeah, like yo, this is not your generation. You did what you had to do. You need somebody younger to coach these younger dudes, and that's just how I feel about Bill Belichick coming back to coach. You are a media guy now. Go be the next John Madden and leave us alone.
Exactly. Dante, man, take us home on this Jaguars topic.
Yeah, I mean, marketing is a motherfucker. Like they've told us Trevor Lawrence was that guy since QB1 on Netflix. So, I mean, I think this is a byproduct of that. You know, the fact that youth sports has become a business and kids are coming up and able to create these profiles. And if you have talent to match with their profile, then you get situations like this where, you know, Trevor Lawrence definitely has the talent. But, I mean, he's been given the benefit of the doubt so far. And it hasn't panned out. I think, you know, dating back to last season, he's lost like 8 starts in a row or something like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a situation where because, you know, especially, you know, I've lived in the South since 2007 and bro, it's really football Jesus down here. Like I tell you, you meet people from Lawrenceville who talk about Trevor Lawrence, you know, they've dismissed Deshaun Watson, but it was usually 1 and 1A. Those are the two they would talk about, even with Justin being from Kennesaw. Those were the guys that they were like, no, you know, Georgia's producing some of the best quarterbacks in the league. And so to see the turn is taken for Trevor. If you're Jacksonville, you already invested in him. So you really have to find a coach that you think can fix him. Like it's that simple. You have to find a offensive minded coach. Doug Peterson wasn't that guy. You saw how it ended in Philly. So I don't know why you thought it would be different. But we've seen the cons, you know, despite their enormous wealth, they don't make the best decisions. We've seen that, you know, whether it be wrestling or the football team. So it's one of those things where now who do they go pick up? I agree, Bill ain't the guy. But it has to be somebody, you know, with an offensive pedigree that can help Trevor Lawrence get the most out of his talent, because the talent is there. I'm not going to deny that. But so far, it's just been more so advertisement and not what he's actually been putting out on the field.
So cool. Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah, we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not